Greetings, peace, everyone, peace and blessings. Sissy Yatir here, the First Lady of Forward Money Network. Back, I said, son, we had agreement before I came on here, and we had an agreement, okay? The agreement stands. We're going to keep our word. I was going to be on here at 7. Oh, assalamu alaikum, hon. And yesterday what had happened was during our 7 o'clock live stream, you can wait a minute, thank you. He actually woke up and came in. And so today, before I got here, I was trying to, quietly maneuver. Wa alaikum salam, sir. Thank you for tuning in. And get here. So I was trying to maneuver and get here. And I guess he knew that I was trying to forsake him in his bed. And he's up with me today. But he's already ready. And so hopefully, prayerfully, he will allow me to have this stream, because as soon as mom starts talking, he's like, Mom, what are you doing? I don't want you talking on the phone, to the phone, with the phone. So anyways, here we are with him. And today I wanted to talk about emotions, because remember, this is just our, individual self-improvement class, but this is just where, myself, I am sharing with you all just different experiences for me and the experiences that I have and how I am, how I have worked through them, how I am working through them, because I'm a firm believer in the arts of communication. And for me, the perfect example for me has always been, when I learned about him, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And so by listening to him, he has shared not just with truth that he gives to us in general, but he has also shared with us intimate details and examples and experiences in his life or of his life, dealing with a certain subject matter, whether it's emotion, whether it's disappointment, and so the insight that he has gotten from his own experience when he shares it with us, it's like, when you're following, it becomes in a way easy because you have a blueprint, so for me, as I had gone through and of course still go through different things, I'm able to say, okay, what would Jesus do? Right? WWJD. What has the minister said about this situation? How would he respond? How has he taught us to respond, to certain emotions? And what I find myself saying a lot is, two things about emotions. Emotions are, they're good. We have emotions. God has emotions. So there's no fault and no wrong in having emotions. It is just when we make decisions or take actions from an emotional perspective. That's one. And then two is the other quote that I find myself telling myself is rise above emotions into the thinking of God. And that really resonates with me because, again, God has emotions. God has emotions, but he is not an emotional action taker. He doesn't decide on a thing because of his emotions. And so, one of those things for me, well, in terms of the emotional side of things and not having to stick or move from that emotional standpoint, I find myself a lot where, I'm learning that on different levels, just when it comes to, my marriage and, my husband and I, where we differ, it's like another epiphany, right? That was the word that I used yesterday, that sometimes when I'm learning something about myself, I'm like, okay, this is something that I can see somebody else using, this is something that I can see being valuable to somebody else. So there's different, one of the epiphany, let me slow down and back up. the so-called epiphany that I had the other day, which was like a, a mini revelation of my own life, was that while I may be, and this is not just with him, if I am, talking to him about, something with him, or call myself helping him through something, or I could be helping out one of my sisters or something. And I was like, wow, when I'm helping somebody with something that seems like I'm helping them, I'm helping myself, because there's ways where those situations apply to me, And, I wish I remembered what the situation was, but I don't remember what it was exactly at the moment. But, what the thing that just continuously sticks out to me, and emotions is a big topic. This is a topic that we can come back to, and I probably will have, more examples. But when I knew that emotions was what I was going to talk about today, it came from a conversation that we were having yesterday with our team. We have 2 weekly team huddles, and we discuss relevant, current events, relevant topics, things that we are, dealing with in today's society, dealing with business and things of that nature. And the emotion thing came up, and I was telling them how that was something that we had discussed yesterday briefly on the live, about how people make decisions from an emotional standpoint. And if we as a people, as a world, if we could get beyond that, how far would we be? Where would we be if we did do that? Because a lot of us make, and just think about the commercials, and this is part of what we were talking about. When you think about ads, commercializing, commercials, the selling aspect of things, they always talk about, in sales books and everything, they always talking about, the emotions of selling, the getting the buyer to buy because of an emotional connection. And I understand that. But what I want and what I desire and what I look forward to, because this is where we're moving out of this emotional existence, this emotional way of living. We're on our way out of that. We are evolving as human beings. And so we have come down far from grace, right? Man and woman are right now act on a very low level, right? We're like right down there with the, you got some people that's down there with the beast, you know what I'm saying? Low. And we're slowly striving, climbing back up. So at this emotional level, because I believe the way that the order goes is like the animals move on an appetite base, right? So we have gone, pretty low, because how many of us have, succumbed and submitted to our appetites, our lower desires? I don't want to get too into that, but I just want to put that out there as we move through talking about emotions, and how as we are growing, that's why I'm saying what I'm saying, that eventually the goal is to be God's, operate from a thinking perspective, right? Not being controlled by the emotions that exist. We have the emotions. You feel the emotions. I always tell this to my sisters, and I'm like, it's okay to feel it. You know what I'm saying? Acknowledge how you're feeling. Do what you need to do to work through that, but don't stay there and don't make decisions from there, right? Don't make an emotional decision, and so that's going to be a personal journey for everyone, figuring out how do you know that you're making that decision from a thinking perspective and not from an emotional one. Sometimes it's more cut and clear and pretty distinct on the differences, and sometimes it's not for people, but that's all part of the process, and that is all part of the growth and the development, because remember, this is still self-improvement. This is still self-improvement. And there was one more thing that I wanted to say about that, about the evolving. Oh, because I mentioned sales, commercializing of things. We mentioned that. But the thing that about that I wanted to touch back on is what I see in the future, in the very near future now, because some of us are getting there, is again, with business, with products, with all these things, that it's not an emotional thing. It's just a need-based thing. Okay. Oh, this is good. So this world is built on, lies mixed with truth, right? When you think about the things that you have to get, the things that you go out and buy, a lot of things are, impulse buying, or because there's a so-called holiday. You know what I'm saying? So it's evolved. This is February. Then they just, some people just celebrated a false holiday this past, whatever that day was. I think it was Monday, right? V-Day. And so what is that? I mean, that's like the epitome. One of the, you know what I'm saying? To commercialize on one's love for another person. So we're going to tell you to go buy, you love so-and-so. Well, this is the day to go and prove it. Go and get them something, right? But if we, as the thinking people, I thought about it. My husband was out that day, he's out with Final Call, and I'm thinking, I'm like, what would I do if my husband came home today and brought me something? I would be probably highly upset. Like, don't you dare go and get me something because they said that today is that day. Don't do that, please. And of course, no, he wouldn't do that. But my point is just that, when we can get past that stage of doing something from an emotional standpoint, then the kind of power that we would have as human beings, as individuals, let alone as a people and as a nation. But if we could make decisions based on thought, based on logic, based on thinking. So that means that, okay, I'm a grown man, I'm a grown woman. I do the things that I need to do for my loved ones. Whether I get gifts throughout the year, if I surprise them with this, I do things all the time. I don't have to stop today and go get something because you said today's that day. You know what I'm saying? And so we just would be in a whole nother state of thinking and state of mind. I actually was, true story. So on that day, which was, again, that was Monday, I believe, I was inviting a sister to a business event. And she told me, because she gave me an emotional response. She said, "Oh, well, you can't ask a married woman to come look at something on this day." And I was like, how do I say that and be, let me be humble. Let me talk, let me make sure that, like, hello, do you know who you're talking to? And I was just like, sis, I'm a married woman too. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I can't judge a person. Like, what do you want me to do? You want me to go and say, let me see, this person celebrates this holiday and this person doesn't. I was like, sis, I'm a married woman too. I said, I don't allow, a so-called, a made up holiday, stop me or dictate my life and what I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. What do you say? And so, like I said, that was the point, is that you as a person have opportunities in life to do different things, but will you miss out on opportunities because of emotion? Right? And so as I bring this to a close, like I said yesterday, after I, talk to my Creator, I read from the Holy Quran, and today, which I thought was just funny, because the part that I read was about Mary and her son. And I was reading it while I was trying to rock my son back to sleep. And I said, oh, Allah, what are you saying? So let me just reflect with you and just share my thoughts as I close. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan talks about what Mosque Maryam, which is the national center. This is the national center for, our nation, your nation. It's your nation as well. It's your national center. Our headquarters is in Chicago. And he talks about Mosque Maryam being Mosque Maryam is named after Mary, the mother of Jesus. And the idea behind that is that little Jesuses come out of Mosque Maryam. We hear the word of God, turns on our brain power, our light, and we leave out little Jesuses, which means what? People who are servants of God, doing his will. So look at the life and the example that we have of Jesus, right? And so as I was reading this about, birth of Jesus and his ministry, this particular portion that I read spoke about, Mary and how the angels were, wanting to take charge of her because of her, not just her humility, but her chastity, right? And the minister tells us all the time that we are that Mary. We too have that ability to produce Jesus. It's a formula, and so as we read more about her here in the Holy Quran, wherever you read of her, she is a submitting woman. She is a pure woman. She is a humble woman. She is a submissive and obedient woman to the will of God. And so that's the formula then to be used as we are, as women, we are the workshop of God. We work with him. We are like his assistant in that we bring new life into existence, right? And so through us comes these babies, and we don't have to have a hit or miss type of reproduction system. It can be that we are intentional with our, the choosing of our mates, the way that we will live our lives, the thoughts that we think. All of this has a lot to do and everything to do, with the birthing of our children. And so, like I said, I thought that was interesting because in a world like this, you decide how you're going to be. You decide especially after light, life, and knowledge has come to us, then we have to choose how we will continue to live our lives. And so for me, like I said, this is like a testimony. This is a me sharing of my own self-improvement journey, is that emotions doesn't serve us if we are going to harbor ourselves or live on that level, right? They don't serve us that way. So it's so important for us to be able to rise above and to be able to rise into the thinking of God. Feel your emotions. They're there. You don't have to throw them away. But if we rise above them and think and make decisions from a thinking perspective, how much better, would we be? So that was part 3. Chapter 3, part 3, section 5, birth of Jesus and his ministry. Talking about that. So like I said, this was good. I just wanted to come on here to talk about emotions today. We will be back hopefully at 7. He's asleep now, while he is sleeping now. And so I don't know, maybe he's going to have to just wake up at 7 because 7 is the time. And tomorrow I'll just have to try to, I don't know what's going to happen. Okay. But we will make it happen. And so thank you all for being with me today. And I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. And that's it for me. Your sister, Yatira X, the First Lady of Heart Money Network, signing off. Have a wonderful day. Peace and blessings.